Hi everybody. At some point, you'll have had to do a competitive analysis to see how your product fares against that of the competition. In this quick video, I want to give you a handful of tips to help make sure your competitive analysis is done really well. So first, you want to identify the features you actually want to compare against. Existing products that have been around for many years may have hundreds or even thousands of features. The subset of features you probably care about, or your audience probably cares about, is going to be much smaller. So be sure to pick the segment that you care about and use that to compare yourself against, because what you don't want to do is have this gigantic spreadsheet or whatever format your competitive analysis is going to be shared in and have a lot of gaps in areas that you never will have a plan to actually address, such as noise in the overall data. Second, a good competitive analysis is not just a feature comparison. It's not about, does my product have features A, B, and C? Does my competitor also have A, B, and C? Or do they have D, E, and F? No, it's not just about features. Because if you look at popular examples of products in recent memory, especially ones that have upstaged more established competitors, those products didn't succeed because they had a more robust feature set. They often had other things going for them, like different marketing, different target audience they were going after, a very unique distribution strategy, different pricing approaches, and a whole lot more. So good competitive analysis is to take into account all of those non-feature related differentiators, because that's probably one of the best ways to get a more holistic picture of how you're doing with regards to the competition. My favorite area to often compare against is how quickly can a user go from launching the product to accomplishing the task that product was designed to do. Now you can measure that in terms of how long it takes, how many clicks or keyboard presses or mouse clicks it needs, and so on, but it's my favorite metric, and be sure to use something equivalent that you can use that is something you can optimize around. Third, competitive analysis is not a solution to all of your product strategy problems. At best, it's a moment-in-time snapshot of where things stand in your industry. It will not tell you where your competitors are doing. It won't tell you what they're going to do next. It won't even tell you the more important parts, which is what are all the things they've tried that succeeded or didn't succeed, but help them, learn new things about their customer, about what their product should be doing, and that will help influence what their next steps will be. With competitive analysis, you won't get that level of detail. You get a very incomplete picture of the status of today, because reading too much into what your competitors are doing is similar to this XKCD comic, which is where you're trying to interpret various points on a graph. And you can see the same data points, but notice that in each version of it, the interpretation of it is very different, because the same data, as we all know, can be interpreted in various ways, and every one of us who looks at this data will have our own conclusion, will have our own interpretation, which is going to be based on our own biases and agendas. And using competitive analysis exclusively as a way of trying to figure out what the future will look like is going to fall into the same trap where you're using an incomplete picture to try to plot out where next steps will be. So you don't want to base your entire roadmap or understanding of the future on what your competitors are doing today. And that kind of dovetails into the fourth point, which I also think is the most important point. A competitive analysis is not a substitute for you building your own intuition for what your product should be doing, what your customers think is the most important thing you should do, and what improvements you should focus on next. The best way to get this intuition is to talk to your customers, either directly or indirectly, or both directly and indirectly, and to better understand deeply what their pain points are and how you can make those pain points go away. Competitive analysis will not help with that. If at anything, it's a data point among the many other data points you can use to help paint a picture of the future. And with that, I will see you all next time.